Um, are there any fires that stick out in your mind other than the Lamons one?
Yeah, one in particular was the Eureka Foundry.
Yes.
Propane tank went off down there. And we could hear it and see it for about 2 blocks before we got there. And yeah, that one was close.
Yeah.
But other than that, house fires and one thing another, as long as everybody got out, knocked them down as best you could.
Right.
But if you pulled up and somebody said there was somebody in it, that sort of made a difference.
Right. Yeah. It would change your priorities of what you did first.
You bet. You bet. Yeah.
I'm wondering, are there fires that come to your mind that are just memorable ones that, for one reason or another, you wouldn't forget?
Yeah, probably the first big fire I was at was, excuse me, was the fairgrounds, the grandstand.
Yes.
Yeah, that one stays in my mind. Yeah. And
that was pretty much destroyed at the time.
Yes, it was.
It?
It was an all wood structure, so it was really going when we got there.
Yeah. Do you recall, or can you tell us about your first fire? Do you remember the first call you went on?
Oh yeah. I've been here, excuse me, maybe about 2 months, and we had a basement fire in the house. Mm-hmm. And I was sitting down in the fire there, and I just remembered, well, we had the air mask. I remember my air mask came apart while I was down in the fire, and I come running out, but I still didn't know much about putting on the air mask.
No.
But I came back out of the basement there, and Jim Toohey was the officer. He put my machine back together again, my air mask. He said, go back down. I did.
Yeah.
And I couldn't see a thing. It's not like the movies where you see right through a fire. You don't see a thing down there.
No.
And so I went down, and I got the water going, and more people came, and
yeah.
things worked out all right.
So that was your first experience. What might have been, what are some memorable fires that you think of? Were there any that just kind of, oh, I remember that one?
Well, the Royal Hotel was one big one that we had. We had a real problem with that one. There's a fairly high wind, and we were afraid that this embers was going to go onto the houses and stuff. The wind was blowing kind of from the northeast, and we were really careful about. We had somebody going around that area just looking for fires that might have started on somebody's roof. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, we called in Beachville to help us with that fire, and it was we lost the person in that fire.
Yes,
which was not very nice. But that was one that probably stood out maybe more than any of the others. There wasn't no fatality other than the one, but. It was a hard one to fight because it was an old building, and with old buildings you get lots of times you get renovations, and these little nooks and crannies that you can't see or can't get to, and you have to physically just tear a wall down maybe to get at that area. And it was tough. It was an old building, like I say, and there were lots of spots in there the fire you couldn't see. So. Ones that really bothered you were the ones where you had fatalities, but if there were children, that was hard to take. We all had kids of our own,
right?
And I remember one fire we had, we lost 3 children in it, and I lost a lot of sleep over that. And I'm sure the other guys did too. But if an adult dies in a fire, well, you can sort of justify it by saying, well, they had some life. Mm-hmm. But when it's children. You know, they never had a chance, so it was hard.
Of the fires that you attended, are there some memorable things, perhaps things you'd just as soon not remember, but, or fires that particularly kind of stick in your mind?
I think the first one that sticks out in my mind was down on Dundas Street, down by the radio station there. We had a house fire, and I was in the back end. And usually, you know, you see the fire, and you hit it with a nozzle, and you knock it down. Well, I went in, I had breathing apparatus on, of course, and went in, saw the fire, hit it, and it just seemed like I was pouring gas on it. It just took right off. And I went, oh, you know, what's going on here? Yeah. And we backed out. and ended up we put it out, of course, but it just that made me realize just how powerful it can be. You know, don't get cocky and think, I got this.